Well, the African Union says it's hopeful the current standoff between Sudan and Eritrea will be resolved peacefully and that the countries must consider resolving disputes without the use of force. The AU officials also said the Union will intervene if and when it's necessary based on its governing principles. CGTN'S Girum Chala has more.
The border tension between Sudan and Eritrea is highly noticed here at the African Union Commission. And authorities here are following the unfoldings from Cairo to Asmara, from Khartoum to Addis Ababa, almost on a daily basis. When asked if the AU will intervene, the official said ways of handling such situations is clearly stipulated on the Constitutive Act of the Union. The African Union can and will intervene if things escalate or if member states request its intervention. Also, the officials said, based on the Constitutive Act, disputes or conflicts between member states shall be resolved peacefully and amicably. The African Union prohibits the use of force or even the threat of using force against another member state. So for now, the African Union has chosen to monitor the happenings between Sudan and Eritrea closely and aspire to see leadership based on mutual interests from all sides. Girum Chala, CGTN, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Dr. Gamal Abdelgawad, a professor of political science at the American University in Cairo. Good evening, Dr. Gawad. It seems, of course, that there's this ongoing strategic and diplomatic push and pull between Egypt, Sudan, Eritrea, and Ethiopia. What's your understanding of this rather tense interplay between these four countries?
Well, I think the main conflict here is a dispute between Egypt and Ethiopia about the Nile water. Ethiopia projects to establish dams so that it can store a large amount of water makes Egypt very much concerned about its share of the Nile water. And the two countries so far haven't been able actually to reconcile their two legitimate developmental demands, and because of that we see increasing political tension, and now we see the Eritrea joining this process of realignment in the region. Sudan and Ethiopia are, for a great extent, are allied together, and recently we see the Eritrean-Egyptian relations is developing, and the visit of the Eritrean president to Cairo today is very much instrumental in that regard.
And of course, as you say, at the center of this is the Renaissance Dam. Do you think this issue is likely to escalate, or do you think these meetings that are currently taking place will ease some of these tensions?
Well, it looks like we are, things are going to get worse before they get better. The positions of the two countries, particularly Ethiopia, is quite hard line on this issue. Is not making any concessions. Is just trying to gain time while continue to create new realities in the terms of the construction process on the ground. And this has made Egypt very much irritated, actually. So. I think tension is likely to increase in between the two countries and the entire region, and only then maybe the countries will be able to reach a reconciliation, or through the intervention maybe of regional organization like the African Union or international organization. But leaving the countries, the immediate interested countries here, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the Sudan, for themselves, they haven't been able to settle this dispute, and some escalation is likely, and some intervention and support from the outside actors is needed, so that this crisis can be diffused.
And as you say, outside actors are paying attention. What interest do countries like Turkey and the UAE have in these issues in the Horn of Africa and Red Sea region?
Well, what we see here is you can call it either the extension of Middle Eastern politics or the intersection East African politics with Middle Eastern politics. The Horn of Africa now became like the crossroad between the two strategic complexes or strategic regions in that regard. Countries in the region, due to the instability in the region, to the multiple threats, either from in interstate relations or threats by non-state actors like Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hezbollah, etc. We see a transformation of different countries' strategic and defense strategies. Remote defense or an on-a-distance defense is a new notion and a new doctrine that has been introduced to the countries of the region. You see Turkey establishing military bases far away in the Gulf and in the Horn of Africa, and the Sudan. Similar things by the United Arab Emirates, by Qatar. And so this is a new chapter in Middle East strategic reality in that regard. This trend has begun in the past couple of years, and it is not certain yet where this is going to lead stability and security in the region.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Gawad, sharing those insights and analysis for us from Cairo in Egypt.